In 1951, the United Nations was a fledgling institution built on the promise of preventing a return to the atrocities of World War II. But that same year, the organization faced an explosive accusation leveled against one of its own founding members, the United States. A delegation led by Paul Robeson submitted a massive 237-page legal petition to the UN Secretariat. Its title was "We Charge Genocide," and it officially accused the American government of a coordinated effort to destroy the lives and safety of Black Americans. The architect of this charge was William L. Patterson, a disciplined lawyer who approached the petition with the methodical rigor of a career in courts. This was a meticulous legal maneuver. Patterson aimed to use new global standards of human rights to force his own government into the dock of global opinion. The 1951 petition was the final verdict of Patterson's career, a synthesis of decades gathering evidence that the American system relied on the systemic exploitation of vulnerable bodies. Patterson's evidence began with his own family history, a lineage shaped by the mechanics of human trafficking and forced labor. His mother, Mary Galt, was born a slave in Virginia. Her childhood was defined by the commodification of her family. His father, a West Indian seaman, used money earned smuggling Chinese immigrants to buy their San Francisco home. Patterson spent his youth in what he called the smuggler's house. Here, the memories of chattel slavery and the profits of human trafficking converged. These experiences formed his early understanding of the American economy. He saw a society where survival often required either being treated as property or profiting from the vulnerability of others. After law school, Patterson set up his practice in Harlem, navigating a legal system on behalf of those it most frequently targeted. He found a law degree offered little protection against state-sanctioned violence. The courts functioned as a weapon against the poor, not a shield. The volume of rigged trials proved legal defense was a hollow exercise. Patterson concluded that seeking justice within this framework was a rigged game. The legal system was designed to protect the very hierarchies he was trying to dismantle. A shift in Patterson's outlook occurred during the prosecution of Sacco and Vanzetti. These Italian immigrants were sentenced to death despite an absence of hard evidence, executed because their radical political beliefs threatened the social order. Observing this execution, Patterson noted that the conscience of man has no color. He saw the mechanics of class injustice were identical to racial persecution. He began to view racism as a manufactured tool of the ruling class. By dividing the working class along racial lines, those in power could protect their profits and prevent any unified challenge to their control. This realization changed his strategy. Patterson moved beyond courtroom appeals and began targeting the economic and imperialist systems that required these divisions to function. Patterson shifted his focus toward organized mass action. He joined the Civil Rights Congress, using public protest and international exposure as his primary legal tools. He defended the Scottsboro Boys, where 9 teenagers faced the death penalty. He believed only massive public indignation could counter the threat of legal lynching. The military presence was telling. National Guardsmen with bayonets fixed against Black citizens evidenced a domestic war. In 1948, the United Nations adopted the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. It defined the crime as acts committed with the intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group. William Patterson evaluated the conditions in America, including the lynchings, the police terror, and the systemic poverty, and found that they met this new international legal definition of genocide. In 1951, Patterson presented his findings, categorizing decades of documented racial violence in the United States as a government-sanctioned effort to destroy a segment of its population. Patterson personally brought this charge to the UN General Assembly in Paris. He demanded the world hold the United States accountable to the standards it claimed to lead. The United States used its significant geopolitical leverage to block any formal action. The petition was buried, prioritizing American hegemony over its citizens. Patterson's work established a framework that remains relevant. He argued that civil rights in America are part of a broader global struggle, and that a society's claim to law and order is meaningless if it is built on the systematic destruction of its own people.